Do the Amish hand make all the furniture? I have been to several Amish furniture stores and it's very good quality. No, they do not hand make the furniture. They have machines. My first job was working in a furniture shop when I was 14 years old. But technically, it was a glue-up shop. We made the glue-up panels, and the guy I worked for had 3 different brothers that had furniture shops, and we made a lot of the panels for all their stuff. So like hutches, tables, stuff like that. So the first thing I did was run a bandsaw, and I had a fence on it, and I was ripping small skirting boards that were like 10 or 12 inches long. And that was the first project he had me do at 14 years old. And he warned me about the blade, you know, it'll cut your finger off. And basically anything in there could hurt you, most things. And next thing I did was run a chop saw, a cutoff saw. And he would give me this list of like 10 different panels on it, had the length and the width written on there of what the final product was that was needed. And I would make it 1.5 inches longer and 1 inch wider. And I would have to find boards that would, you know, make it wide enough, and then I would have to cut them to length without leaving a lot of waste. So it was a lot of thought involved for me at 14. I kind of enjoyed it though. Then I would stack all those panels from that same order on my cart and take them over to the joiner, and I would run both sides over the joiner, get the edges pretty straight. Then I'd run them through the planer down to a certain thickness. And then I would, usually my boss, at least in the beginning, he would send them through the rip table. But at the end, I was probably around 15 when I started running the rip table. It had a drive on it. Once you push the board in, it kind of grabbed it and took it on through. So it's really easy to cut it straight. You send both sides through there, one side once, and then the other side twice, basically. And then they were ready to be glued together. You take them over to the frame, take them over the glue roller, you know, and set them up in the clamps, glue them together. Once they're done, you take them back out and you run them through the belt sander until they're the right thickness and the right finish. We had to run them through the belt sander multiple times for each grit. We have 4 different grits. All the machinery was ran by a line shaft and powered by a big, I think it was a Detroit diesel engine. The engine was sitting in a little room off to the back, and we also had a blower hooked up to 4-inch PVC and had a suction behind each machine to keep the sawdust down. So I never made any of the finished product when it came to furniture, but I made a lot of panels. By 15 years old, I was taking an order and running it all the way through and out the door on my own, you know. And it was a pretty good feeling, you know, that he could trust me to do that. But I did not like working indoors all the time, and that's ultimately why I decided to go to construction.